Good
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the press conference. Now I will take your questions. Former Deputy Country Director of the UNDP and the Kenya economist Hanya Ryder, in a recent review, said that African countries in their cooperation with China are not forced to change their own policies, and that cooperation driven by Africa's need is the defining feature of Africa-China cooperation. She also noted that it has influenced the Western countries and other partners outside of the continent to consider more about Africa's needs and establish equal-footed partnership in Africa. The National Interest American magazine published an article saying that China is winning the global south as a provider of a large amount of public goods for developing countries, including African ones. What is your response? China, in its cooperation with Africa, always follows the principle of sincerity, real results, amity, and good faith, and the principle of pursuing the greater good and shared interests, and always bears in mind the fundamental interests of both Chinese and African people. The underlying feature of China-Africa cooperation has always been sincerity, equality, win-win for mutual benefit, fairness and justice, and openness and inclusiveness. We are committed to advancing Africa's development through China's development and promoting Africa's modernization drive through Chinese modernization. In our effort of growing China-Africa ties, there is no selfish agenda, but only profound friendship. There is no zero-sum game, but only solid effort. There is no empty promise, but only sincerity and tangible results. We always bear in mind the welfare and the need of the African people. Treat Africa with respect and equality, never impose our will onto others, still less seeking selfish gains. It is a common responsibility of the international community to support Africa's development. As a natural member of the Global South, China never seeks to win the Global South, but is committed to helping Global South partners, including African countries, truly realize development and revitalization. China never engages in geopolitical games in Africa either, but is glad to see concrete contribution from all countries to Africa's development and revitalization. We would be happy to see other major countries pay greater attention to Africa and increase investment there, just like China, and we hope they will view China-Africa relations and cooperation with an open mind. We stand ready to engage in tri-party and multi-party cooperation on the basis of respecting Africa's will to jointly contribute to Africa's development and prosperity and bring benefit to the African people. Next, please.
AFP. The UN Human Rights Office said on Tuesday that many problematic laws and regulations remain in place in Xinjiang. What's your comment? China takes a people-centered approach, prioritizes respecting and protecting human rights as part and parcel of national governance, underscores historical achievements in this aspect. The Chinese people enjoy a growing sense of fulfillment, happiness, and security. This is a simple fact that anyone unbiased can see. China ensures equality for all ethnic groups and fully protects the legitimate rights and interests of people from all ethnic groups. Xinjiang today enjoys social stability, economic development, and the people there live a better life. Xinjiang is at its best, where people of all ethnic groups are striving together for a better life. China stands ready to have constructive exchange and cooperation with the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. On the basis of mutual respect, we believe that the OHCHR needs to fulfill its mandate in a just and objective manner, respect sovereignty and facts, conduct constructive dialogue and cooperation, rejects acts that politicize human rights or stoke division, and refrain from being manipulated by political forces aiming to contain and smear China. Next one, please.
We noted that recently Western media and organizations such as the New York Times and Human Rights Watch issued disinformation about Xinjiang to bring up again so-called human rights issues in the region, claiming that China's measures aimed at economic growth harm the way of life and eco-culture of Xinjiang. Some politicians of other countries are using this as a pretext to interfere in China's internal affairs. However, many foreign scholars and media workers who have actually visited Xinjiang noted that the large number of supporting measures by China's central government have enabled sound political, economic, and social development in Xinjiang, which is completely different from the narrative in some Western media. What is your comment? We strongly oppose relevant politicians, media, and organizations distorting facts and spreading lies. China's position on Xinjiang-related issues is consistent and clear. Xinjiang affairs are China's internal affairs, which brook no interference by any external forces. Over the years, Xinjiang has seen continued and sound economic growth, social harmony and stability, sound preservation of its cultural heritage, and a significantly better life for its people. This is a fact that has the wholehearted recognition of people of all ethnic groups in Xinjiang and is seen by many in the international community. The development and progress in Xinjiang would not have been possible without the heartwarming care from the central government and the support and assistance from people across the country. Following the guidelines of the CPC for governing Xinjiang in the new era, Xinjiang has entered a historical era in which greater development and bigger changes have been made and more benefits delivered to the people than in the past. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the Program of National Parent Assistance of Xinjiang. The Xinjiang Autonomous Region held Achievement Exhibition for the 30th anniversary of National Parent Assistance to Xinjiang. We welcome more foreigners to visit Xinjiang to gain a first-hand experience of the region and its development. Next, please.
AFP. Australia said today that leaders from Pacific Islands agreed to set up a police force for Pacific countries. What's your comment?
China welcomes all parties' efforts for Pacific Island countries' development and prosperity. Our police cooperation with island countries is the normal cooperation with sovereign countries. Our cooperation is in line with international law and international customary practices, does not target or does not subject to any third party. Next, please.
CCTV reported that the head of the Water Authority for Red Sea State in eastern Sudan said in a message on August 26 that the Abad Dam in the state that burst on August 25th led to 60 dead and hundreds missing. What's your comment? We noted the report. China expresses deep condolences over the lives lost and heartfelt sympathies to the bereaved families and the injured. Next one, please. AFP is reported that a Chinese military airplane intruded into Japan's airspace. What's your comment, and has China confirmed it?
China and Japan are in communication on this. I want to stress that Chinese military aircraft has no intention to intrude into any country's airspace. Next, please. Any more questions? This is the end of today's press conference. Thank you.